And I have a passion for so we're doing things that we've never done before. Arizona is in a brand new and loosely I'm going to use the word exciting time with water resources. There's a lot of interesting things happening, and so we need problem solving. We need oh, got it there. Okay, cool. Now I want to go over the roadmap of how we essentially got here, and it all started January 9th. Maxine Brown sent us an email and said, hey, we're, the members of GCCI are really interested in what's going on with water, specifically in the northern Pinal County, what's going on with water as a state. We all know that there's a ton of buzz going on with the Colorado River. What the heck is happening with that? They essentially just wanted to invite us in to present on those topics. And we, took the bait and we're very excited to present. So on February 5th, our water resource manager, she's now our vice president of water resources, she came to the meeting. Supervisor Steve Miller attended, Bill Staples and I presented for the first time ever to Gold Canyon Community Incorporated about this topic, talking about what's going on with the Colorado River, what our water supplies are as Arizona Water Company, the water provider for this area, what we plan on doing in response to Colorado River, and then we put a nice little bow on that presentation with conservation, because as I mentioned before, I call it a crusade to start conservation programs for all of our service areas. So we're like, hey, why not bring this up and see if there's any interest? And luckily there was interest. So we came back for, after a few months of a little back and forth on logistics, we came back and presented on, okay, here's essentially how we run our conservation programs. This is all the thought that goes into it. We did a big analysis with the water use data and presented what we thought would work for the community. We started the conversation on building a program. I think we had about 4 meetings in between May and essentially today to work out some of the logistics, to figure out the logo and the slogan and all the different things we wanted to do. And that's what brought us to today, the launch of the program. And then I just put the future because I didn't know what else to put on there. But essentially, we're launching the program today, and it's going to continue on as long as we want to maintain it. So whenever we start a water conservation campaign or a program for an area, we first want to understand the lay of the land. So we did something called a comprehensive water use assessment, essentially saying, okay, what is Arizona Water Company already doing for conservation? What's the community already doing? With cities, it can be like billing codes and policies and different regulatory things. And then what would actually be beneficial? So we looked at all the water billing data to figure out where's the water being used, therefore where can a beneficial program come from? All of our conservation programs have a digital marketing campaign. So essentially through social media, and a landing page, trying to provide a hub. So if anyone has questions, if someone's newly moves here and they're like, what's going on with conservation here? They have a place to go to figure out what's going on and to get information on what they can do to conserve. And then we like to develop something unique that's tailored to the needs of the community. So in the 3 campaigns that we've already launched, we've done very different, unique things. In Coolidge, the mayor is super passionate about educating kids about conservation. So we did a whole program where we're educating 4th graders, and we put on a water festival, a full day, hands-on activities to teach them about conservation and water resources. So this aspect is really us listening to the community, them telling us what they think, they need, and then building something off of that. And we like to emphasize that this is not Arizona Water Company's demand management program. This is a joint effort. So I know that Gold Canyon is unincorporated, so there isn't a mayor or anything like that, but we do believe that this program, again, is not just ours, but it's Gold Canyon, the community of Gold Canyon, and our program. So I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this slide because it looks kind of overwhelming, but essentially this is all the boxes that we check as Arizona Water Company for the efforts that we make already with standing in the community for Gold Canyon. So things like, water waste. If you guys see any water waste, you can call Bill, the customer service representative at Bill's office, and report that, and we'll take care of it. We do, alerts if your water bill is higher than it normally is. So there are already things that we're doing to meet our regulatory requirements for conservation. As part of the comprehensive water use assessment, we also tried to determine how much water one person in Gold Canyon uses on average in a day and compare that to the state average. We call this GPCD, so gallons per capita per day. So in Gold Canyon, just for residential water use, an average person uses about 127 gallons per day. This group called AMLON did a study in 2019 and determined that the state average, statewide is about 120. So this is a benchmark to kind of help us set goals or understand how much water people are using. I'm not super fixated on GPCD because I think quality of life and different things kind of blend that into an interesting topic. But I did think this was important for you all to be aware of because it's part of our assessment.
For Lucas, so it's 254 if there's 2 people in the home. Is that the way you look at that?
So yeah, we tried to estimate population because I believe Gold Canyon is an area that the census specifically, does the census population reading for. So we use census population with our deliveries to determine, essentially one person, 127 gallons a day.
Thank you.
But that also incorporates like outdoor water use and pools and things like that. So there's a lot that goes into it as well as indoor water use.
So we're looking for Gold Canyon, for example, the actual census is less than actually our water users with the winter visitors.
That's what makes
here.
it tricky.
So it's factored, I think to keep in mind, it's factored based on our actual permanent residents, where 6 months out of the year, we have winter visitors here in Washington Water as well.
Yeah, and nuances like that are why I kind of don't like using GPCD because I know people love having a number to compare as a metric for if we're doing all conservation or not, but I think that it's a lot more complicated than that. And thank you for bringing that up, Cherry.
An indicator, really.
Yeah.
Yeah. And people always ask, and especially in the water community, I'm like, oh, what's your GPCD? And I'm like, well, okay. Okay. And then essentially at the end of this very analytical, data-driven analysis, we determined that the 2 areas for potential conservation are commercial water use and residential water use, which is no surprise because pretty much similar thing happened in the last few communities that we've done programs for. But this kind of helps us get a lay of the land. And then we take this information and we present it to GCCI because they're excited to work with us and say, hey, what did you think about this? This is where we think we can go from this.
Excuse me, can I ask that question?
Yeah, sure.
You're talking about commercial and residential, but agriculture is not included in this?
No, I don't know. Is there any agriculture out here? So this is specifically just for
They're like Coolidge areas, but you don't supply agricultural water, do you?
No. No.
And golf course, all
courses.
commercial.
Yeah.
There is commercial.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then so from there, we were like, okay, we found a slogan that we really like, water more precious than gold, because it had to tie into Gold Canyon, which was clever. And so then we wanted to develop a logo for a brand. And for this part, we thought it was really important to actually reach out to the community and see what the people liked from some options that we had developed. So as part of our Facebook page, we launched just some voting to see what people liked and maybe didn't like and kind of what logo we should settle on. So these are the 3 options we had, and we settled on the little circle with the water drop in it. And I mentioned, so we have a Facebook page. Go on Facebook and put water more precious than gold, you can find it. And essentially that's where we're going to be putting out every month. There's going to be a new topic and we're going to be promoting tips. So 1 month can be, how do you check for leaks in your home, where we'll feature maybe videos of Kim and different tips so that people can know, if there are snowbirds, what to do to check your home for leaks before you go, what to do when you come back. If you have a higher than normal water bill, you can call the water company, but what are some things that you can do yourself to try and find leaks and maybe do some easy fixes, just as an example. And then anytime we do any videos or anything like that, we'll mainly post it on the Facebook page. We have a landing page, which actually was live this morning, and we'll get to towards the end of the presentation, because I don't know if it's going to muck up the internet. But the landing page is essentially a website. So if you just Google watermorepreciousthangold.com, you'll get to it. It explains what we're doing, what we're trying to do. It links to the Facebook page. We have a frequently asked questions document that's actually a living document. So we have a few questions on there that we thought would be important for the community to get some information on. So topics like development and things like that are kind of addressed there at a very high level. And essentially, we use the Facebook page and any negative comments or like discussions that happen on the Facebook page to drive what content we want to have for the FAQ. So if there's a ton of questions about development and specifically one topic of development, we can create an FAQ to answer that. And then anytime we're responding to the comments on Facebook, we can channel people to the FAQ instead of administratively having to retype the same response to everyone. And then also with the Facebook page, one thing that we've done in previous campaigns is if there's something that comes up, like in Casa Grande, someone was commenting about, you know, what is it called? There's a mine near Casa Grande, and I don't remember what it's called. But someone was commenting, you know, oh, what's gonna happen when that mine pollutes our groundwater? And you know, the people started talking about that. And we were like, okay, an FAQ may not cut it for this because it feels like it can spiral out of control pretty quickly. So instead, we did a mini video series where we interviewed the division manager in that area and talked about, you know, the environmental quality person, what they do to ensure that, you know, there is no contamination. How often are we testing our water? So bigger topics kind of like that about treatment or anything like that. We like to put videos together to educate people in that way. So those are those two things. And then we have a pre-campaign survey. It's kind of difficult to determine whether a public information campaign is going well or not, because you're just trying to educate people. So one way we're trying to tackle that is with a pre-campaign survey. So I have flyers if you guys want to fill it out. It's only like 8 questions and sent through Facebook, but we're trying to gauge the conservation ethic that currently exists in Gold Canyon, as well as gauge what topics people are interested in and what people would want to get more information about. And those results will be shared on the Facebook page and fun posts. And then about a year after the campaign has been launched, we'll do another survey and see if, you know, interest and knowledge of conservation has increased. If people are aware of the brand, if they know what's going on, what's working, what isn't working.
So that's a survey that's been popping up on Facebook.
Yes, it is an ad.
I'm surprised there's only 80 participants.
Yeah, I don't think a lot of people are seeing it.
Well,
Yeah.
I see it all the time.
what we can- yeah, what we can do is with when we send out the newsletter, someone put that link in. That's a good
Yeah.
idea. To be
Yeah.
able to have at least all our members make sure. Yeah. And take that.
Yeah, so we try to get as many people as we can taking that. And then we have a campaign strategy guide. This is more logistical. So that's fully explaining how many posts we're going to do on Facebook and what our brand is and the colors and all the little details that come with running a Facebook campaign. We have a launch video that is on our landing page. We'll pull it up. Kim is featured in it. We had Harold Christ is a part of it, and Supervisor Jeff Surdy is a part of it as well. And it's pretty much the same, you know, trying to explain to the community what we're doing, but in a different form, in a video. And we'll share that later. Lives on the landing page and the Facebook page. Oh, actually, here it is, but I don't think you can hear it. So we'll save that. I already mentioned this, the results of the pre-campaign survey should be wrapping up the end of this month. The post survey I already mentioned. Geez, I'm so excited. I'm getting ahead of myself. Another thing that we're going to do, which is going to be launching by the end of December, is a water journey video. So a lot of people are like, where's my water coming from? What are my supplies? Especially new residents are very interested in that. So we're going to put together a video with the help of Bill's team, explaining, you know, where Arizona Water Company gets our water and what kind of treatment happens, and essentially where it comes from before it gets to your house and to Golden Canyon. And those have been a hit in our other communities as well. And then I mentioned kind of how we handle negative comments. So I am not a public information officer. I love the public, but I'm not very good in those situations. So we have a company that we're contracting with called Blossom Digital Marketing. They're based out of Casa Grande. And they're essentially helping us manage all of this. So they're in charge of all the posting, anytime a topic on social media comes up that's really hot or maybe turbulent, they present it to us and we talk about it. So they're a big help in managing all of this because I cannot do it by myself. But anytime something comes up, if we feel like we can't handle it on our own, or we think that we shouldn't be the only voice in responding to it, we will be meeting with the GCCI members that we have been already meeting with to discuss that, because again, this is not just our program, the community program. So we don't want to be the only minds that come into answering any topics that come up that are really
So we look at the water journey.
Yeah.
Is that going to, the story there posted to the Facebook page that we'll
Yes.
send out to the group here?
Mhm.
So when that's launched, they'll be able to see it there.
Yeah, so that'll be posted on Facebook, on the landing page. So right now there's the main landing page, there's the FAQ page, and then we're also going to develop a page where all of our videos will be housed.
So I'm sorry, is it only on Facebook? I'm not on Facebook. So is there another place we can go?
That's a great.
The website?
Yes, our website. Yeah,
So
How are people in this community aware that this exists? To go to whether they're on Facebook, if they're not on Facebook,
Right.
here's the website. Because I think there's a lack of awareness. I mean, except for maybe the people in this room or those of us who are on Facebook a lot or that kind of thing. So I think maybe the PR firm that you're working with or something, there needs to be some kind of, it can't be an e-blast because we don't have everybody's emails, but some, whether it's, I'm sorry.
No, we actually, we have planned to do an email blast this week.
Oh,
So, and we hired an outside source.
This-
oh, good.
Today-
Okay, great.
today
We are
is-
doing it a lot.
Today is the launch.
Mhm.
I mean, all this,
Okay,
all the stuff she's been talking about, we've been working in the background to build to this point.
awesome.
I wonder if it was on their bill too.
Yeah, so little things
Yeah.
like that we've
Great idea.
been trying to do. So, as a water company, when you get your bill, there's like a small statement about conservation on there. So we've been trying to do that, and then we also want to do a bill insert. Also getting in touch with, I don't remember the name of the company, but yeah, trying to do email blast, trying to get in the newspaper, doing events is really important. That way we can talk to people that way. Yeah, so we've been, any ideas you guys have for how to get out there, we're open to it. Yeah.
What about a billboard?
Ooh, we've never done a billboard before. I'm not gonna say no to it, but I'll have to look into it and see based on the, different things.
My name's Jerry. I live in Mountain Brook, and initially there was an analyst who was going to work with that HOA and work with other HOAs. I haven't heard anything about that lately. Because we've just put in another $25,000 irrigation system. So it sounds like, that's kind of probably counter to conservation, but I'm not,
Are you, is it an assessment for the common area?
well, it's just part of our reserves. It doesn't matter how it got there, but one of the issues we have is that we're using water to irrigate a lot of property, and this analyst was going to go and review what we're doing and how we're doing it.
I think they were scheduled for this fall.
Yeah. Oh, we're jumping ahead.
Okay. I'm sorry,
No, that's okay. That's a really good segue actually for what to look for in the future. So, by the way, I will have my contact information at the end. So your guys' ideas are really, really important to me because you're in the community. It's important that we have resources for people that aren't on Facebook or we're able to share that. So please email me because there's only so much information that I can hold in my short term. So getting into the individualized effort, right? I premised this by saying in our campaigns, we do the social media or the digital marketing campaign and the individualized efforts. So for Gold Canyon, we determined the individualized efforts that we thought would be impactful would be quarterly presentations on various topics. So reserving a big space where people can come in and having presenters come. So like, for example, our chief hydrologist can talk about water issues or things that are going on with the Colorado River. Those in-person presentations that we think would be really impactful. And then large landscape water audits, and I think that's what you're talking
Yeah,
about.
right.
So, Arizona Water Company, we have a contract with a gentleman named Gary Woodard, who has a company called Water Resources Incorporated. And he essentially does large landscape, water audits, looking for leaks and also making recommendations on efficiency improvements. And so we've already done 2 in the community. I think it just so happened that we had the contract and people in Gold Canyon were interested before we started this. So we did Peralta Trails and Superstition Mountain, and then I think, yeah, Mountain Brook is on the agenda. So we're gonna do that with Gary soon.
Just on the same theme, most people go to HOA meetings, like if you had a show and tell at Tuesdays at Mountain Brook, you'd have 300 users that are people, consumers. I'm sure that's on your list.
Yeah, if you couldn't tell, I love presenting. And I would love to get out to the communities and talk to people.
And have some good donuts and coffee.
Oh, yeah. That's always great.
Every Tuesday morning.
And just to go back, I think it's
Sure.
important. Oh, Jen, you have the date up there. I think those workshops are gonna be fantastic because
Mhm.
experts will be there. So there's a lot of questions in the communities about our source of water, about Arizona Water Company, where does the well water come from?
Mhm.
So that will help. Today's the launch, but in-person workshops are also being designed. So really
Mhm.
hitting this from all angles.
Yeah, trying to. And with those workshops, again, feedback is super important because I only have so many ideas of what I think would benefit the community or what people want to hear about. Starting with water resources is a great place to start because of the Colorado River stuff. But if you guys have any ideas of what you think related to water that people would be interested in hearing about, please email me and let me know. And then other resources that I thought would be important for you guys to be aware about. On Arizona Water Company's website, we have a page about Colorado River. And it kind of breaks down, I think I wasn't in charge of putting the content together, that was our hydrologist, but I think it goes over what's going on with the Colorado River and how, if any, impact is gonna happen to Arizona Water Company customers. So we want to keep that relevant and up to date, and have a centralized area for all of our customers to figure out what's going on with the Colorado River. So wanted to make sure that you guys are aware of that. And that is what I had. My last name is really hard to spell, I know that. So we have our savewater@azwater.com. So if you guys email any questions or anything there, I manage that, so I will get them. Mhm.
We had some questions in the chat.
Sure.
Let me bring that up. Glenn is asking about the people who have their own wells. And a lot of people up against the mountain have their own wells, so how does that factor in?
Those are all exempt wells, so they're residential wells, so they don't.
Okay, so they're not part of the equation. Okay,
Think from a water resource. No.
I don't know.
okay.
Yeah,
And someone asked about the link to the Facebook page, and Glenn put it in the chat, so anybody online. Thanks, Glenn. He put the link to their their Facebook page there.
Mhm.
So what is the website? Is it Water More Precious Than Gold? Is that the actual website?
Yeah.
Okay.
So water more precious than gold, oneword.com.
And I'll make sure everybody's signed in with your email addresses, so if we don't have it on file, then that way we can follow up with all the
Mhm.
information for you in our website.
Yeah. Cool. If you guys have questions or topics that you want to discuss on more one-on-one, again, Bill and I are going to be at the off the market event at 2:00 with our own table and giveaways. So please come by. I'm going to stop sharing my screen, and then Dave, is there any way that you can pull up the
Video.
launch video
Oh, great.
so we can watch it?
So you sent it to me, didn't you?
Mhm. Oh, but it's also live on the landing page. So if you go to the landing page, so just type in water more precious than gold. It should be on there.
Excuse me, will the program include things like rebate? I mean, toilets are the worst offender in a household, and I know that some communities have efficient toilet rebate programs to incentivize people to change.
That is a great question. That's on my list of like passion projects, because Arizona Water Company doesn't currently have any rebates. And I do think that a toilet rebate would be effective. But there's some administrative things that need to happen in order, before we do that, mainly, just getting another staff person to help me with this stuff. But that is on our radar.
And also sprinkler timers, yeah.
Yeah, and as far as some of the information that we're gonna be posting is yeah, how to schedule your sprinkler timer, how often you should be adjusting it, tips for irrigation, because up to 70% of water use at an average residential household in Arizona does go outside. So that's the greatest potential to save there.
I think people respond so well to.
I know, I'm like, oh.
Oh,
Okay, you ready?
cool, yeah. Oh, man. Hi, I'm Raluca, the Water Conservation Coordinator for Arizona Water Company, your water utility. Gold Canyon was created to be a unique and beautiful community nestled in the foothills of the Superstition Mountains. The people that live here enjoy and treasure the beauty of the untouched desert. Water has always been an important part of Gold Canyon's foundation. Because water is important, we have to make sure we use it wisely.
Hi there, my name is Harold Christ, and thank you for just taking the time to look at this video, because this is an important time in the history of Arizona dealing with water. I've been told by the native people who lived in this area that there was no water here. But as you can tell by looking at me, I'm not as smart as I look. And I decided that I could find water. And those of you who have grown up in Arizona realize you might have a great piece of property, which I felt this was, but if you don't have water, you don't have anything. The relationship with Arizona Water and doing what they have done through the years has been an amazing relationship. The efforts that they put forth in laying the water lines, in providing the water for all of the subdivisions in here has been really what has made Gold Canyon what it is.
I'm Serdy, I'm the county supervisor for District 5 in Pinal County. As you can see, everything is green. We've had a very wet summer, which has greened everything up. One of the important things about saving water is when we do have a lot of rain, we don't need the sprinklers. We don't have to waste. So that's why it's important to not only watch the remainder of this video, but there's going to be a whole campaign about what you can do, what businesses can do, and what the whole area can do to preserve the water so that we can maintain this lifestyle. Because water is a finite resource. It's more precious than gold. Anyone that lives here knows that.
I'm Kim Yeagley. I'm the owner of Gold Canyon Plumbing and a proud business owner in Gold Canyon. The goal of my company is to teach people how to use water smartly, not to stop using water. Everyone has the opportunity to save water, from businesses, to golf courses, to residents. Why water conservation is important to me. I have 8 grandchildren and I want to make sure there's water for the next generation. Part of this campaign is to help teach residents how they can save water. It's important for everyone to take part and save water for the future.
The Water More Precious Than Gold program is a partnership between the community of Gold Canyon and Arizona Water Company, geared towards providing all water users in Gold Canyon, residential or commercial, the tools and information needed to conserve water. Our goal is to provide a sustainable water supply for Gold Canyon today, tomorrow, and generations to come. We want to make sure that everyone knows what they can do to conserve water, not just you at home, but your favorite places to hang out, recreate, volunteer, or work. Both the Facebook page and the landing page will be a hub for information, so everyone can know what they can do to conserve Gold Canyon's most precious resource, water. Click on the link below to follow the Facebook page and get more information on water resources, water conservation, and so much more. Water conservation works best when everyone is doing their part. Together, small actions can make big differences, because for Gold Canyon, water is more precious than gold. Geez, hearing it again, I probably said the words water conservation like 20 times.
Hi,
I apologize to those of you online. I forgot to share my screen before when I brought it up, so they didn't get to see the video, but Raluca put it in the chat, the link to that website, so you can view at your leisure. Okay, any other questions before we move on?
Any chance of putting Apache Junction on your list?
Apache Junction is on our list, actually. We're going through all of our service areas, and I will allude to early 2023. Keep an eye out.
Good. We got
Yeah,
everybody on the list, so the follow-up will have the links to
Yeah,
what we discussed.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yes, after every meeting, we do
Yeah.
send out to our membership list, or anybody on our email list, a summary of this meeting with links to videos and that kind of stuff. So if for the people that aren't here, or for the people who are here, so you can review that. Okay, so, shall we move on? Oh, okay, I want to.
Thank you, everyone, for letting me.
Really looking forward to the workshops.
Yeah, they're gonna be great.
This is a really great initiative, so I'm really glad that we are talking about it as a community.
Thank you.
Well, thank you to Dick and Isabel for leading the way.
Steve gets all the
credit
and all the credit here.
Yeah.
Okay, all right, so moving on with our meeting a little bit, I did want to mention a few things. And I won't be offended if you want to get up and get some coffee or some more cake and while I do this, but I wanted to share some things for the community that's happened recently. One is if you're not aware, the board of supervisors, they're dealing with the Peralta Canyon Way, which is that small road that's connecting Peralta Canyon with Sleepy Hollow, which is the first main issue that got all us in GCCI involved. And they got an engineering firm to do a traffic study of, what's the impact now that they've opened up that road to Sleepy Hollow. And their recommendations are that Peralta Canyon Way should remain open to traffic. But what they're recommending is that traffic calming on Sleepy Hollow Trail should be considered. Now, that's a new term to me, is traffic calming. But what that is, those are speed humps, or they put in they narrow the street a little bit so it slows you down going around. So those kind of things. And they also recommended that there should be an additional access point considered for the Peralta Canyon development to 60. That's the ultimate solution, I think, to this issue. So that came from the traffic study. The advantages are, the better public access, reduces travel time. There's some disadvantages to the increased traffic on Sleepy Hollow, and the traffic study, which we have listed on our website, the GCCI website. I put a link to the full traffic study. It's very detailed if you're interested in that, all the statistics. But it does show that Sleepy Hollow is basically at capacity right now, and Peralta Canyon is not even built out yet. So that's one of the disadvantages. The next steps for the board is they need to vote on there's 4 solutions that are recommended for the board. They haven't voted on it yet. The meeting they had last week was just to an informational type thing. They did not make a vote on what they want to do. So, but that will be coming up. So they need to continue engagement with the citizens of the residents for traffic concerns and to monitor the roadway conditions. Now, there are 4 options that they'll be voting on. Is to keep the road open, that's Peralta Canyon, as is, there's no gate, just keep it open. To install traffic calming measures on Peralta Canyon Way and Sleepy Hollow to slow traffic down. Install a new robust gate on Peralta Canyon, which would mean they would the county, that's a county road officially. So they would abandon that and let the HOA for Peralta Canyons take over that, and that HOA would put up a gate with limited access for emergency vehicles. And the other option is to permanently close off that road altogether. So those are the four things they're going to be voting on. So I just wanted to let people know that's what's happening. We've initiated, we've been involved, we've been around since 2021 as GCCI. We recently had some, we elected new directors and new officers. Some of our former board members elected not to continue, and we thought that they deserve some recognition for what they've done for the community. So we created a board emeritus type of category for historical purposes, and we've inducted Roberto Orvelis as our president emeritus, Sandy Smith as a board of director emeritus, along with Maxine Brown. And basically because those three individuals have been involved with Gold Canyon for years and years. Sandy Smith used to be our representative on the board of supervisors. Maxine is still representing us on the traffic board for the county. So they're very, very active and involved in the community. So we wanted to recognize them as such.
Hey Dave, we got a plaque there for Roberto.
Oh, yeah, we do have, yeah, we have the certificates for this. So Jerry's gonna present Roberto's, and I will personally deliver Maxine's and Sandy's to them.
Roberto,
Wow.
Thank you for all you've done for the community and for the growth of Gold Canyon Community Inc. You're a terrific guy.
Okay, just one more item. One thing that we want to, we're thinking about for the people that have joined our group as members. We've talked about membership dues. We haven't had membership dues since we started. And so I just wanted to run through, we have some basic operating costs, which I've got in front of you. And that's just to keep the lights on and keep the organization going. We've had income. All of our board of directors contribute $200 a year as kind of seed money to keep us running. We also have grants from the county that has helped us with our activities. But as you can see, we're bringing in 7,000. We're spending almost that amount. So basically, if we don't have any dues for members, we can probably continue to function as is. But there's a lot of things that the community needs doing, and we're looking at going out and getting other grants from other areas to do certain things. But it would be helpful to have a reliable stream of income coming from our members. So we're going to be putting out a poll to our members, asking them, okay, what kind of options should we have? Or maybe they can just choose from this menu. $20 a year for a household, for $10 per individuals, or they can contribute whatever they want. Some organizations have done that. They don't have set dues. They just say, okay, just give us $10, give us $100, whatever. And then also we want to recognize the people that are working on our various committees. That's sweat equity, and we appreciate that. And sometimes that's more valuable than money. So if people join our members and they are active in the committee, then that's their contributions, and that's fine with us. So that's kind of some things that I want to do. Okay, question.
How many members do we have?
Official members right now, we have about 56 that signed up. We've got on our email list, we've got almost 300 people, but not everybody was elected to join as official members. But the members, what that does, they elect our board of directors. So it's and we go out to our members to ask opinions of, how do you think GCI ought to react to this situation or that situation? So that's the advantage, as it were, to being a member. You get, we want the committee voice. It shouldn't be just us on the board.
Is there an advantage to HOAs that GCCI exists? I'm thinking, I mean, how many HOAs are in Gold Canyon?
A lot.
And, right, but they have a source of income because the members are paying them. Does GCCI, is it valuable enough to go to HOAs and say, by the way, based on your membership, you should, we would like you to donate this much to our organization because we do so much of the groundwork
Right.
for you people.
Mhm.
Is that considered?
Meet our new treasurer.
No. Yeah, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
No report of transportation. Anyway, that's just a thought.
Okay, well, that's a good idea. We hadn't really thought about that, but we should do that. We should go to the board meetings and say, hey, this is what we're doing. Join us. Okay,
We're taking work off of their back, at least we'll tell them that, and then you owe us some money for that,
okay,
couple of grand a piece.
all right. We have a spokesperson.
I
Okay,
never mind asking for money, I don't care.
okay, all right.
Dave,
Thank you. It's a good idea. Yes.
let me interject that one of the roles that is key for our community is that clearly we're an unincorporated community. We function under the governance of Pinal County. And so it's critically important, and we've been doing this consistently, that we attempt to identify the issues and concerns of Gold Canyon residents. And then we take the next step, is we go to the Board of Supervisors, Planning and Zoning Commission being the key work committee in the county that develops how we continue to grow or manage our growth. And then we, in effect, lobby the Board of Supervisors before they make a decision on the recommendation they receive from the Planning and Zoning Committee or Commission. That's why it's critically important, in the absence of a unity government here, that we absorb as much of the issues through homeowners and other civic groups. And so that is probably the overriding role and function of GCCI.
Yeah. Okay, so let's move on. Our agenda, we had, well, we did the kickoff. So now we're gonna have some committee reports. So Jerry?
Thanks a lot, Dave. I'm gonna have Mike DeRosa talk about transportation, but before he does that, I wanted to let everybody know that the Liberty Utilities sewer rate case is coming up. And the hearing starts on the 14th. And Glenn Legas and myself have done quite a bit of analysis to see what we can do to reduce residential rates, because we think that there's an opportunity to move a lot of it over to some of the resorts and to commercial. Not unfairly, but not in a punitive way. But anyway, that's going on right now. So hopefully we'll have some success, and we'll report back in December.
Okay.
And Mike, if you want to go
Yeah.
on transportation.
Yeah, thanks. I know Jerry was on the call. We had a few weeks ago with ADOT. It was a very quick people here. They assured us they're doing all they can. They're continuing to work with the Renaissance Festival people. And we'll see how that goes. One of the things that they stressed a lot was that they do a cost benefit analysis for everything that they're doing. Because as various people brought up questions, they were all good, but it's how much money is available. And if you do that, does it take money away from some other project or vice versa? So I was personally impressed with the fact that they do a lot of study when it comes to that. The idea of using traffic circles was brought up, and George, and I forget his last name, with ADOT, did a very nice presentation as to if you start from ground zero, building a new road, a traffic circle makes a lot of sense, but if you have to go back and install it, it's extremely
Yeah,
expensive.
well,
And that is a,
education-wise,
yeah,
right?
it was a very, very good
Yeah.
presentation on it, a single, double, and triple. And so, I mean, in the future, we might see traffic circles in new construction, but I doubt if we'll have anything here. There was some concern as to making sure that traffic on 60, especially as it coming west, was properly slowed down by the lights, especially at Kings Ranch, because it's the first one.
Mhm.
He explained how they have the blinking caution
Mhm.
east of the intersection, and how those are being used. And I think that was really about it. Dave, I know you were on the call, and anybody else that wants to jump in with a comment, please do so.
Thanks, Mike, for a quick recovery. I knew you could do it. You're from Wisconsin, right? So-
Oh, I love that. Go back.
The other thing that's happening is the lights at Mountain Brook are going to go, right now they're 2 sequence. And they're going to go to 1 sequence. And the last date I heard was December 2nd and 3rd. So what that'll do is, if you're familiar with that intersection, the whole purpose is to speed traffic along 60. And because you lose about a minute between let them go, then let them go, if you harmonize that, you'll save some time. So we're going through an educational process for those people in Mountain Brook and Gold Canyon Golf and RV Resort as soon as we get the timetable. So a couple other things, Maxine, who's not here, but really we owe a lot to her. She's been working on this tax program with Pinal County, and the Kings Ranch Road, which is really a mess this morning. I asked if they didn't finish it just so you could understand what's going to happen. But anyway, that we've actually been able to bring that ahead 3 years to get that improved. And hopefully it's as good as we want it to be. And that's because of the effort of GCCI and other people to help get that done. So if there's areas in your community that you need road work done, signage, or improvements, just find us and we'll put it on the list, because Pinal County is very responsive. They know something is needed, then they'll jump on them. So we've got a lot of HOAs have been resurfaced recently because we held up our hand and said, let's do this. So just open that up to the whole community that this is a way to get that through the system and directly to Pinal. Thanks, Dave. That's it.
Okay. Dale, you want to talk about what you're working on?
Okay, parks, trails, and outdoors areas. We had started out this effort with the thought that we'd build a unified trail map for our community. Just here's all the walking trails, here's the biking areas and all that. And was looking into paper copies, and I went to a lot of communities throughout my travels in Arizona and got copies of their little community trail maps and everything. I was worrying about, how do you get the GIS support to build one of these maps? And then a couple of weeks ago, I thought, why am I doing all this? Why am I looking at building paper copies that are difficult to keep up to date? When you have changes, you can't do it. So I just went online and I said, I'm going to build a web page structure to do this. And it's easy to update, it's easy to change, it's easy to add to. It's a wonderful idea. And a lot of those links and maps and everything already exist. So I've switched to that, and I've actually got a pretty good framework built here. First thing I did was write a big disclaimer, we're not responsible for any of these links that we do. I wrote a big disclaimer, but now I'm building all these links, and I got a lot of text to add and everything, and hiking information and everything. So I'm working on that. I'm probably a week or 2 out from having a good framed up copy that I'll then send out for review and get people to add.
Fantastic.
And Glenn Fulmer, I'd like you to pitch in. I'd like to send it to you so you can pitch in and give me all your input and additional links. But I've linked it to all the different counties around us and their park systems and the trail systems and the OHV stuff and everything. So I think it's going to be a nice product, and then we'll figure out where we're going to put it.
Yeah.
we're gonna incorporate it into our webpage, or we're gonna send it somewhere else, or set it up alone. Terry sent me the list of all the HOAs here, which is substantial.
It is. And I think one of the things behind the scenes that we're working on is getting the message of GCCI. You can hear the wealth of work that's being done and how through the HOAs as well as other communication avenues to get that message out of all the work. That's going
Yeah, one of the reasons I wanted the HOAs is, like, this is the HOA I live in. It's their trail map
Right.
with indication of where benches are, where the trailheads are, and everything, superstition foothills. So I wanted to contact each HOA and see if they have something similar, so we can just link to that. Even shows the interconnector between our side of the mountain over to Mountain Brook and all that too. But if a lot of the HOAs have these sort of things, that'd be a great resource too. So anyway, that's going on, and I'm getting close to get a product out to review and have people give me all their great ideas and information to add to it.
I
That's a
think
lot
that-
of work.
that's-
Thank you. That's a lot of work.
Well, an HOA, think about they send out and new homeowners come in information, having this going to each HOA website,
Right.
be able to have a
So
avenue.
they can just connect
They
straight to it.
connect.
So we have a Gold Canyon.
We have our Gold Canyon
Incorporated
website.
Website, but each HOA has their own website
Correct.
too.
So link us on there.
So we'll put it on our webpage
Right.
with all this info, and then give each one of the HOAs a link, so if the people are interested in what they can do around here. And I went probably more extensive than I should, but we can.
Well,
always
and,
change.
and one of the overlays from all this is, I think we also want, once we have all this information for all these little bits and pieces, we want to try to connect the community
Mhm.
in some way, because that's how you build community, through physical connections. So we want to try to make it easy for people to ride bikes, hike, or whatever, from one area to another area. So that's another
Right.
function we're doing.
So anyway, it's getting along there. I've probably taken way too long on it, but I goofed off all summer and everything. Another thing is Monday, I'm meeting with John Kraft. John Kraft's a traffic engineer from Pinal County. John's been working with me to get enhanced signage and stenciling put on some of our roads for the bike lanes and that sort of thing. They've actually signed on Superstition Boulevard, Don Donnelly and Golden Rim. Pointed out some issues with signs being attached to traffic signs, which really is a no-no. So John's coming out to look at it. We're gonna walk it down. Jerry is our transportation guy, so I wanted him to meet John, so I've invited him up to meet with us on Monday. And I know Mountain Brook probably needs some enhanced stenciling and signage, maybe on the roads there that have bike paths and everything, but I'm a biker and I'm very worried about road safety, because I've had all my numerous close calls and everything, too, and I've got a lot of feedback from our citizens on that too. I don't know if we wanted to mention this, Dave, but I'm going to.
Go ahead.
So the Peralta Regional Park is gonna open up soon, like in January, February timeframe. And Isabel's been working, leading us on our dark sky push and everything. So we've been talking, Dave and I both talked with Kent Taylor with Pinal County Open Spaces. And said, why can't we have an event out there when you guys open up? And push our dark skies, and then Isabel, Dave and I went and met with the East Valley Astronomy Club, and we saw all their stuff, and they've agreed they would probably like to do this. We've got a window identified, maybe in the March timeframe. They wanted some time to open up the new regional park and kind of soft open and get it going. And then we want to have, like, in a March timeframe, an event where we get the astronomy club out there, we have all these telescopes. We make our dark sky pitch. And we're doing it with us phase of the moons, because everyone likes to look at the moon. Looking at stars, not that exciting, but looking at the moon, so it's cool. So we're setting up with them. We met with them. We've got a contact there. I've identified a potential date, March, that meets their moon phase requirements and all that. So we're gonna try to do that, which would be a cool event.
By the way, we have somebody on Zoom here, Bill Shaheen, who is very involved with the Superstition, what's it called, Superstition Mountain Astronomical League, I believe, right? And so he has also said that they would be, you know, they would love to support us on that.
Excellent. Excellent.
And
Okay, then another thing,
Go ahead.
another thing I did, you're
Bill, did you want to say something?
No, I just said, and how we would love to provide that support. As far as moons, we schedule our star party, our public outreach events around phases of the moon. But we actually feel that there's a certain specific range of phases, say between 10 and 45% of illumination. But whoever is speaking, I didn't quite get your name, but I'd be happy to collaborate with you on that. The moon is not an enemy by any stretch, so, okay.
Okay, Bill, we'd love to do that. My name is Dale McKinney. I'm one of the directors on GCCI.
Oh, great.
And
Glad to meet you.
I'll connect up with you. That'd be great. Were you the guys that were set up by Bashas one time looking at the sun? With all your
Indeed, yes, that was us. It was like the transit of Mercury and different events were there. That's us.
I went out there and I would look through your telescopes and talk to you guys. And when we went to this other meeting, I said, I can't remember who that was. So that's great that you connected up.
Thank you.
The other thing was, a few of us went to the Adobe meeting. And there was a presentation I just wanted to bring up on Firewise communities, becoming a Firewise community. With we're seeing these large fire events, we're seeing community impacts, we're seeing an increase, you know, in the size of fires and all that. So there's this program called Firewise, and it's how to make your community better protected from range fires, wildfires, and that sort of thing. And I'm not going to say a whole lot about it. It's Adobe's gig to go pursue this and everything. But because I'm just snooping, I actually called my Allstate agent and just says, do you guys offer a discount for people who live in Firewise communities? She says, I don't even know about that. And we talked a little while long and said, oh, I looked it up. I'm calling our underwriters and we're going to see what we can do. But if we can get notice out that you can get a discount on your home insurance, that will encourage people to, let's go make this happen. You should be encouraged anyway, because you don't want your house to burn. But I thought that would be a good thing. So she owes me a call back this week to tell me what their underwriter said, but there may be potential for a discount out there.
And Dale, at the original presentation they made to us, they did tell us that there was a discount that was available through the insurance companies.
Yeah, and the lady that the scheduled speakers didn't show up for this meeting, so one of the Adobe members kind of winged it, and she did a nice job, I thought. But she hinted that that might be out there, but she didn't really know the answer. So I think going to the underwriters is a good way to do it. So we'll see what we would get out of that. That's all I had.
Dale, I had a question going back to your enhanced road marking. Actually, it's a request. If I don't know, maybe it's on your list already of areas. But the hill going up Don Donnelly and around the curve, I'm a walker.
And the trail goes away.
It's just like people think that's a speedway. Coming around that curve, it's a blind spot. I've had to move over many times. Coming north on Don Donnelly Hill, going around before it turns into East Golden.
That's where I ride.
Yeah, and so you know.
So I set my camera up, my trail cam,
Okay,
at the top of that hill on that inside corner.
yes, yeah.
And left it there for 15 minutes while I finished my ride, came back, and there was 20 cars,
Oh, yeah,
trucks, service vehicles
absolutely.
that were mostly in the bike. And
Yeah,
that's,
yes.
and so I want to talk to John Monday and say, can we do some other things? Can we put like bumps on those inside currents? So that people at least get alerted they're in that
down
lane.
the curve because.
You know,
people are
reflectors.
walking and riding. Yeah, it's a little
Okay.
dangerous.
Okay,
Anyway,
that's it.
thank you.
Thank you. We need to move on. Are you done?
I'm done.
Okay, good. Isabel.
It is hard to match Dale's enthusiasm and energy, but I want to tell you a little bit about what we're doing in the Conservation Committee. And he gave me a perfect segue already because we're working on the Dark Sky Initiative. And if you've looked around a little bit, you've seen us give information about it in bits and pieces. So Dave and I have been very, very busy. I've just completed a long series of meetings with all kinds of stakeholders, and we just wanted to gauge what the interest is in helping us with getting a certified program that not only Gold Canyon, but an entire area in Pinell County, starting basically here in this area, going down to Oracle State Park, should be designated as an official dark sky place. Okay, so we just feel that it's really important to anchor some type of regulation to protect the night skies, because we see the light pollution coming in from Phoenix. You're all familiar with the what's it called, the Bell Bank Park, with the huge lights there that you see from here actually. So we kind of try to curb that a little bit and get with the help of the International Dark Sky Association, the IDA, get it anchored in a way that there are regulations that prohibit light pollution, if you will. So dark skies does not mean no light at all. So, you know, you have lots of info material out there on the table. So those of you who haven't seen that, please take it. And I noticed that you took some. Okay. Anyway, and you might find interesting when we met with the Apache Junction city government, you know, we learned that they're actually working on something. And you mentioned that you are right towards the Superstition Mountain. So there are ideas to include that area right across the Superstition Mountains there also. Okay, so we're working on it. Our formal application with the IDA is impending, so all of this is going to happen pretty soon. And we're hoping that we're going to get this done within, I don't know, a couple of years. That's probably how long it's going to take, with the help of the astronomers that we have in the area, which is really fantastic to have these guys aboard, because they have all the instruments that are necessary to measure light levels. And the IDA is very, very stringent with its requirements. So it's a lot of work to actually put this together. And this is where most of my attention has gone to. Okay, so anyway, that's the dark sky chapter. And we've got the water chapter, right? Dick has.
We heard a lot about that.
We heard a lot about that, you know, to get this launched. You know, like when you talk about conservation in general, we have to look at various areas, you know. So there's water conservation, obviously, you know. So then we're looking at light conservation, right, with the dark sky projects. And we're looking at open space conservation, and there we are lucky that we actually are able to rely on the excellent work that SALT has done. And we've got Charlie Goff here with us on Zoom, who is the president of SALT, and he had the director position before me here. So I'm hoping that Charlie and I will be able to continue working together. But in terms of open space, that's what SALT has been working on for the past 20 years. We are also working on a community plan for Gold Canyon, and I'm here to make sure that we have a very large conservation component in there. So to me, this is a mandate that we are conserving, preserving the open space and the beautiful desert for which we are all here, right? So I'm gonna do my very best, hopefully in conjunction with SALT, to make that happen, to protect those lands from overdevelopment. We do not want to see industrial development here, and so we're gonna do our very, very best to keep that from happening. So let's see, to this end, over the summer, I've been working with some of my students at ASU. So this has nothing to do with the ASU study, about which you're gonna hear more in upcoming months. It's just resources to do a little bit of research and actually go through all of those terribly long and tedious documents that the county puts out to just extract some information, all of which is gonna go into the community plan, and it's also gonna go into a little brochure that I'm not sure when exactly it's gonna happen, but it'll happen. That I would like to publish on conservation issues here in Gold Canyon. I just wanna have something to show to people. This is why it's important that we have conservation efforts here in this area. Okay, so this brochure is gonna go out sometime in the winter. Give me some time about that, for that. It's gonna take some time, okay? But we're working on it. And that's my report.
Okay, thank you. Well, I don't want to take too much more time, but are there any questions from our guest? Did you want to say something about what you're interested?
Oh, you told me that somebody was possibly working on that, but my issue.
Oh, that was Maggie, but she's not here.
I'm not here. I know I'm new to the community last year, and I lived out in California in La Quinta, where we have the same issues with snowbird, well, not issues, snowbirds are an issue. The people who target the snowbirds and target the people come into your community. And we have this issue out there, and I see it here too happening. How you have panhandlers come in, people asking for money, and I was wondering if, because I know in Chandler, I see signs that saying don't feel obligated to give money. And I was hoping that's something we could put up in the Basha area. I'm not sure who works on that or who we can ask about doing that, because I've approached, I'm a court appointed special advocate for Pinal County, and I work with foster children. I work with social workers. I have a lot of resources to work with, and I offer these resources to quite a few of these people when we first moved in here and recently. And you can tell who needs it and who doesn't. You can tell who, so yes, we do have homeless people around, but you'll just see them up there charging their phone, not bothering anybody. But the few people I approached, one last week, she instantly assumed I spoke Spanish. Don't know why, but she's just like, don't speak Spanish. I'm like, okay. I said, I'm not going to speak Spanish to you, but she's like, I speak French. I said, okay, my daughter speaks French. I can talk to you. And she didn't want, you could tell she wasn't in dire need. She had a sign saying that she's a mom, children, blah, blah, blah. I have a million different resources. We have resources right here in this building, correct? Like for food donations, everything. I pointed that out. She wasn't the first person I offered resources to, and they denied them. The gentleman before I offered to about jobs, he said, oh, immigrant can't do it. I'm like, okay, got it. Next time I saw him, his sign said immigration issue, cannot work. I'm like, we have resources for you. I'm more than happy to get you in touch with somebody. Those are the people that are really upsetting me, that they're focusing, and they only show up, I noticed, just like in my last community, when the snowbirds come back. They're focusing on people who are coming and pulling at their heartstrings, and I hate to see. And I'm working on a big project for mental health issue also, and you can tell when people have these issues, and I'm just like, is there any signage we could put up in these areas saying, we don't want to pollute the area with signs, but have something there saying, please don't feel obligated to give money, please think about who you're giving to. And there are people out, there's so many resources, just Phoenix alone, you wouldn't believe the resources they offer to people in need.
Maybe one thing we could do is we could provide residents with little palm cards with the resources.
Oh, I love that.
So
I gave out cards, yes, I even gave out my own cards. Contact me, I'll put you in touch with the social
if we
worker.
could put something like that, I mean, that's something we could do.
I love that.
And
Yeah.
have those
Yeah.
available
Right.
like in the visitor center. And when you see someone like that, you can say, oh, you need some resources. Here's a lot of resources for you.
This young lady last week decided to drop my card and just leave it where it was. And I was like, okay, that's fine. I see you're not in that dire need, but my thing is, I've seen these signs, if there's any that we could put the exit, or whether constantly standing saying, please do not feel obligated to give. Because that kind of triggers me.
Yeah, I think she has a point on that, because like in other places where in like Tempe has them too,
Tempe has
Scottsdale
them,
has
yeah.
them. And I think it just deters people also from standing there. It just.
It does deter them from that, and I'm always over it. You work at ASU, correct? My daughter's a student there, so I'm there constantly with her. I see, and they pull on the homeless population there is huge. I do see signage up like that, and it does deter them from standing there in those areas.
Scottsdale has a lot of, Scottsdale just put, I think, a ton of them up there.
That's
And I
another
noticed
place I've
that
seen it.
you know,
Okay.
but-
Well, we don't have time to work the issue here, but do we have your information?
I left my email and my phone number, so.
Okay, could you put a star or something by it? So I will connect you and Maggie, because she's working with the Salvation Army and AJ quite a bit on these issues. So maybe there's something we could do on them.
And
Okay,
I think to that point, a lot of great input today. In our follow-up email, we'll have the different committees, so please respond with a committee that you're passionate about to join, because as you can see, a ton of work goes on, sweat equity, and we could use your help on those committees. No matter the time that you commit, your voice is important. You're here today, so that shows you are really committed to Gold Canyon. So we invite you to join a committee or committees that interest you. We need your help.
okay, before we close out, anybody online have a question, concern, comment? Please unmute yourself.
I have a
Okay.
quick suggestion. Hello?
Go ahead, go ahead, go
Yeah,
ahead.
when you send out the video or link to the video, when the Zoom recording is saved, it also saves a file that is the meeting, it's called
Chat.
meeting room chat dot text. If you
Yeah.
could please simply attach that to the email,
Okay, all right.
it's easy
Will do.
enough to do, yeah. And
do.
links are there, of course.
Yeah, okay, will do. Thank you, Bill.
Who's speaking, please?
This is Dave Coward.
Oh, Dave, okay, thank you, I wasn't sure.
Okay,
Thanks, Dave.
all right. Without any other comment, I will close the meeting. There was one. Let's see, I think Maya just said, she said FYI, the SCFB, whatever that is, Gold Canyon Food Bank have resource guides available to assist individuals. So the food bank already has something like.
It's actually the Superstition Community Food Bank in AJ and the
Okay.
Methodist Church Food Bank. They have resource guides available for individuals that provide direction where they can go based on their need.
Great, thank you, Myra.
You're
We will,
welcome.
touch base with those folks and see what we can do. Thank you. Okay, I will adjourn the meeting. Thank you all for coming.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.